Greetings one and all. Bit of an impromptu video. It's one I've been thinking about doing for a couple of weeks now, and I've spoken to a few people about it, but it's one of those things that has come up more often this week than it usually does. And it's not craft related, and I'm sorry, I know I promised you more more creative content, but I think this is really important to get off my chest and share with you. So before I do, this is Craftalytical, where we talk all things creative therapy and share art and what it means to us and how it benefits us mentally and physically. From time to time I interview the experts. Most of this is mine and other people's kind of shared and lived experience. So bear with me on this one, because it does relate. My name is Andy. There's a reason I introduce myself that way. Quite clearly, I am female. I don't have a problem with they, them, or she, her. I'm not a he, him. But I prefer Andy. Out of all of my birth names, it's the nearest I get to being comfortable. This is a tough subject for me because names are important. What we label ourselves for us is important. And I want this to be a safe space where people can be themselves. I want people to feel welcome in the community, and I want them to be seen or feel like they are seen. Last night I rang into Luis at Nerd Report because he had a discussion about this term Latinx and the fact that the Latino community don't want it. Same with Italiano X or Italian X or Filipino X or Philippine-X. These are supposedly gender neutral terms for a community, when actually Filipino, Latino, Italiano, they are already gender neutral, and it's being forced onto their community, and they're not happy about it for obvious reasons. This is their culture, this is their language that is centuries, old, that has evolved over time, and it's evolved that way for a reason, and being forced into accepting a term. Now, don't get me wrong, if you identify as Latinx or Philippine-X or however they're pronounced, that's great. That's for you to decide. It's about you as an individual. Don't force it on a whole community, a whole culture. And names are really important to me. How I introduce myself and the terms I use for myself are how I present myself to other people, how I want them to see me. And when someone uses my birth name, when I've introduced myself as Andy or one of my other nicknames, it upsets me. It really, to the point of making me feel sick, physically sick. I've never identified with any of my birth names. I've always found them difficult. And there's a history there. There's a deep-seated trauma. I was named after someone who passed away before I was born, and it was a lovely idea, but I was a constant reminder, because of my name, of what had been lost. And that allowed certain people around me to be bitter. And I was blamed for this person passing before I was born. So my name has some pretty awful trauma and abuse attached to it, which is why I introduce myself as Andy. It's the only thing that I have ever found that I am comfortable with. And even then, I'm not amazingly comfortable with it. Names are important. How someone introduces themselves is important. And I'm not saying I understand what it's like to be dead named. I am not saying I understand what it's like to have a whole culture dictated to by people who think they know better than the people from that culture. I had my thoughts. Go and see that video. I will link it in the comments. I had my thoughts. It is important. You don't know what the story is behind why someone has introduced themselves the way they do. And it doesn't matter if you understand it or not. It doesn't matter if you understand dead naming or chosen names or gender identity. It's none of your business. You don't have to understand. You just have to respect someone's wishes. So if someone from a specific culture says that thing that you're saying is wrong, listen, learn from it. Educate yourself if you want to know more about it. If not, if one person says, please don't call me Latinx, please don't call me by my birth name, listen, that's someone else's identity. Because we do identify with our culture, we identify with our name. It's how we know someone's talking to us. It's how we know our heritage and our food, our family. And it is far more important for Latino countries and European countries to know what their heritage is. And in America, in the States, the amount of people that say to me, oh, I've got Scottish heritage, it goes back generations. It goes back 150, 200 years, but they're still really proud of that heritage. Don't take that away from someone just because they don't have the same colour skin as you. Or because you think you have earned the right to use their birth name. You haven't. Not unless they give you permission. No one has the right to use my birth name because it is problematic for me. I changed my name. This was a long time ago. Changed it by default, and I wanted to change my full name. And out of respect to my parents, I spoke to my parents about it, and my dad was, he was pretty easygoing. He wanted me to keep my first name as a homage to this person that passed away, as a middle name or something. My mum was really offended about the idea of me changing my first name, so I didn't. I didn't want to cause either of them hurt. I changed my middle name. And I would love to go by my middle name. I really would. That would make me very happy. I don't think that's going to happen though. Because it's hard to get people to accept that you want to change your name. There are some people in my life that have earned the right or have a good reason to use my full name. I don't like it. I don't. But out of respect for them, I don't want to make them uncomfortable. And it's a compromise because I love these people. And I am willing to do that for people that I love. But you have to earn that. You have to earn the trust and the right. And it's a really difficult subject. It's really hard to articulate. But honestly, every time I have to give my name, I go to the doctors or I fill out paperwork, I physically feel sick. That's how much of a CPTSD reaction it gets. It is a physical reaction. I was just asked my last name. I went in to get the pets some stuff, get the rats and the dog some treats and you know, the rats some bedding and that kind of thing. I was asked my last name and I stumbled on it and I struggled with it. It feels alien to me. My whole name, my first and my last name, just, they feel alien to me. And I can only imagine the hurt and the pain, the disgust that causes someone who has changed their name because they are non-binary or trans, or someone who has a culture label foisted on them because someone else feels the entitlement to do that. I don't get that sense of entitlement. I don't get where people get the right to decide what your name is, or to decide what your culture is. I'm a very white woman. I don't know what my culture is. My dad's last name, from what I can tell, came to England from Spain, through Ireland, where it got split into several different last names. There's 138 of us or something like that in the UK and Spain. But I don't know my heritage. I don't know what my makeup is. And I would love to find out. I really would. But if you are a proud Latino, you are a proud Italian, you are a proud Filipino, you know your heritage and your culture, and it is rooted in food and family and your collective history, to have someone else say to you, I'm not going to call you Latino or Filipino, because I don't think that's gender inclusive, or, you know, I think it's a different term. Don't dictate someone else's language and culture to them, please. Don't dictate someone else's name. I will also say that there's a chap called Paulie who runs, I think I'm getting this right, Latino Slant. And he has some beautiful takes. I don't always agree with him, but I love his calm takes on things. And he said last night, you know, this Latinx thing, if you want to identify that, that's fine. That's not a problem. It's your choice. But, you know, this is meant to be inclusive. When has the Latino community not been inclusive? When have we not used gender neutral terms? Because they use Latino and Latina interchangeably, depending on what you're saying around it. But it means all. It's gender neutral, unless you know the kind of the group of people that you're talking about, or the person you're talking about is male or female. And I thought it was a beautiful take. Because every Latino, every Hispanic person I have ever met has been welcoming and open and beautiful inside and out. Every Italian, every Spanish person, every person from Puerto Rico, they are welcoming. So that's my hot take. It's been messing with me for a little while. To be honest with you, it's been messing with me for 40 something years. But because I was never accepted as an Andy. It was dictated to me what I should be called. And I had to get it off my chest. And I hope you don't mind. I hope maybe you've learned something, or you've gained an insight into why when someone labels themselves, it's important to listen. When someone names themselves, it's important to listen. You don't know someone else's trauma. You don't know the backstory. You don't know if they've changed their name to escape a bad situation. And if someone prefers a shortening of their name or their full name, you know, I've known plenty of people that prefer David to Dave, or the other way around. Use the name they ask you to use. That's all I ask. This has been a difficult video for me, and I hope you understand why, and I hope you have learned something, you've gained something from it, or at least you feel seen. You feel like you're not alone in feeling the way you do about your name or your labels, your preferred labels. My name is Andy, and this has been Craftalytical. Thank you for watching. I will do a video later on something more crafty and arty related. I've got some really exciting interviews coming up too, so please stay tuned. Hit that like button. If that thumb is not coloured in black, please do that now with a click. Change the colour of the subscribe button from red to grey. Make it calm, make it happy, and then while you're there, just slide over a little bit and click on the bell for notifications. That is honestly, it's the best way to support my work and my channel, and I really appreciate everyone that has liked it. By the way, I'm up to 21 subscribers. I'm really excited. I know I am 979 away from getting monetized. And I am hundreds of thousands away from some of the other YouTubers. But to me, hitting the 20s is a benchmark. And I want to say thank you to all of you for getting me there. But please share this video with someone who needs to hear that they're not alone. And hopefully you will see some more content from me that is slightly less serious and a bit more about the art side of things soon. Thank you. You are very appreciated.